Hi, and welcome. I'm Clint Evans, CEO of Standout Authority and a member of the host committee for the upcoming Linked Intelligence Virtual Summit. It's going to show you how to get more leads and convert them into clients starting on LinkedIn. Today, I've got with me Trey Stinnett. He's a serial entrepreneur from the Austin, Texas area. He's got a background in real estate. His first 2 years in real estate did over $1 million, was very successful. Now he's been speaking all across the U.S. and maybe some internationally. I know 40 plus cities just in 2016. So Trey, tell me a little bit more in your own words about 1 to 2 minutes, your background, what's led you to this point, and what you're excited about going forward.
Sure. It's great to be here. Thanks. So, I started out in real estate, 19 years old, wanted to do something with my life besides just go to school, get a job, the standard old method that our parents always told us to do, because I wanted to make more money than that was going to come from that. And so I got my start in real estate, like I said, when I was 19. And in my first 2 years, did pretty well with that. And from the real estate profits, got a little bit of a little boost in the ego and confidence as well. Started a whole bunch of different companies, did a screen printing company, online apparel company, got involved with a healthcare company for a little while there, and a few other companies that I've been able to work with over the last 12 years now. And now what I'm most excited about is kind of learning how the successes that I've had and the failures too, of course, those are hugely instructional in our life, how they've led me to being in a place where I am now, where I have the opportunity to coach other men who are going through similar process of becoming an entrepreneur, of trying to find that level of success and realizing that sometimes success is defined by more than just money, but also what we're able to do with it. I got to a point in my life, in my marriage, where I was, doing pretty good financially, but maybe not so much in the relation area. Maybe my body wasn't feeling as good as I wanted it to. And the last 3 years have been pretty transformational for me. And so there's a new men's group that I started earlier this year called Provider that I'm super stoked about. It's going to be making a huge splash and a big change in 2017.
Fantastic. Yeah, me and my business partner, Josh Lee, are coming out with the book Integrate and a community around that. Because you mentioned the point, basically the 4 pillars of life. You talked about the relationship with your wife, and I don't know about your health and the vision and spirituality, but all of those things have to work together with the business side, or things just break down. And depending on different phases of your life, you also talked about money not being the only thing. So it seems like, again, this is a stereotype. But as you get maybe into the 40s, 50s, and 60s, start thinking more about legacy instead of just solely about the profits of the company.
Yeah, I think that's a huge deal too. I've got 2 little girls. And they're young, but already, just especially in the real estate world, there's a lot of talk about legacy and being able to leave these properties for your children. And for me, it's also about being able to mentor them and be the provider in their life after I'm gone, so they can do it themselves. And I think that's incredibly important too. So I'm glad you bring up that point.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Finding your big why, and Darren Hardy calls it your why power. And I know we align a lot in that. So our big tip and the takeaway for this quick call today, that's going to lead into a deeper dive for those that want it. But basically, it's the time of year now where people are thinking about their foundations for the coming year, what they want to achieve, big goals. But from what you found for yourself and in your research, and I've seen the same thing, goals don't work. Even like the SMART goals and some of these other systems people have. You've got a unique structure that you do instead. You do this instead. So what is this that you do?
Yeah, so, it's interesting that I've chosen to work with men because men are traditionally very masculine creatures. And the whole concept behind goal setting is a very masculine idea, which is to set your mind on something and try and direct your actions toward it and then achieve that. And it sounds really great. And we can hear Eye of Tiger playing in the background as we're being our Rocky Balboas of our own lives. But I think we've all experienced failing to reach our goals. Setting expectations, and then life takes us in a different direction. And for me, that was the story of my life as an entrepreneur from 19 to 28. I lived the life of feast or famine, of having really great years and then having not so great years, of having knocking out of the park, home runs, and then maybe just a few singles or just not even hitting the ball at all and striking out. So I've experienced that, and through going through that process, realized that my approach, although it works from time to time, it's a failed approach, and right now we're talking about setting New Year's resolutions. We're coming up on 2017. And I think, some people, they've just given up setting New Year's resolutions, altogether given up. And that's understandable because 92% of people who set their resolutions fail at completing those resolutions by the end of the year. And so people give up completely. Well, the problem with giving up completely to set any type of intention or goal is that, well, you're 10 times less likely to do anything that you want if you don't at least set something. So the articulation that I make with my clients as a coach is that there's a difference between goals and intentions. And they say that the path to hell is paved with good intentions. And I think that that is a complete lie and a mistruth that people misunderstand. I believe that the path to heaven is paved with good intentions, because to me, hell is setting a goal and then not being able to reach it. So it's setting goals that really makes me feel like I'm living in hell, because nothing seems to be working out right. I get frustrated. I get upset because things don't look the way that I wanted them to look. So we're always trying to create this perfect world. And so to articulate what I mean when I say set intentions and not goals is an intention is something that you desire for your life, but it's also something that you can do. It's a mode of operation. So, when I set an intention, I can be committed to that intention. Like, I intend to become healthier this year. I intend to dive more deeply into my relationship with my wife. And the reason why I don't say I am going to go out with my wife on a date every Tuesday night for the next 16 weeks is because, well, what if that's not what I need to do one week? Right? I don't give myself the ability to actually enjoy and be able to kind of fluidly move through my life. And maybe my wife doesn't want to go out next Tuesday, right? And so setting goals is setting yourself up for failure. So what I always tell my clients is that you should be committed to your intentions, but unattached to your outcomes. And when we get too attached to our outcomes, that becomes failure. Whereas if we don't attach ourselves to our outcomes, here's the great secret, most beautiful part. And I wish I had more time to really dive into this specific part, and I don't, but is that when you're unattached to your outcomes, but you're committed to your intentions, the outcomes of your life are far beyond what you could have ever designed anyway. You will arrive at a space that is so much more incredibly powerful than anything you could have requested or designed. And any man who's ever had a love relationship with a feminine woman understands this. And that is that she's so much more than you ever could have possibly designed. And whether you feel like that's a good thing or a bad thing at times, because she's all over the place, she's a hurricane of energy, we all are attracted to it through our masculine energy because it's so incredibly just all over the place. Well, guess what else is? Life. Right? The universe. Yeah. Everything in life is unpredictable. It's raw, it's natural, and it's moving around. And so it's our job as masculine men who are trying to accomplish something in this life, who are trying to be able to achieve a life that we truly love and one that we desire, to simply set our intentions and move in the right direction, and then be able to course correct as we go, because success is not doing one thing right and then the rest of your life is great. It's making the right decision after the right decision after the right decision. And whenever you are in an energy space where you're constantly feeling like you're failing, it's very difficult to continue to move forward.
Yeah. And do you have one example, concrete example that you can give of how this has worked in your life, either in the business or the personal side?
Sure. So in 2013, for instance, I was about 35 pounds overweight. My last business venture had just failed, and I actually had to take a job for the first time, which was a huge strike to the ego because it's 10 years as an entrepreneur, and now I'm having to go work in somebody else's business. And so I got hired on to be the president of an energy bar company, which was great, except for the fact that I was 35 pounds overweight. So here I am in a health industry and not looking like I should be. And, my marriage was okay, but a little bit rocky. It wasn't as intimate as it was toward the beginning. And so, I really just kind of started to realize that I need to set some goals. So, I set some small goals, and just like any other goal, I wasn't really that attached to them because I learned not to be, because when you fail, you kind of just start pulling your punches. That's why I think sometimes the older we get, the more detached we come from being able to fully dive in passionately to something. So what ended up happening was just in 2014, when I became the president of this company, I realized I got to do something. And so I set an intention to be a better president of the company. That was it. It wasn't an intention to do anything else, just to be a better president of the company. So I started reading some books on health. Next thing you know, 3.5 months later, I've lost 30 pounds. I'm on a completely new path in my life. And I started realizing that, it wasn't that I was getting up at 5 a.m. going to the gym and just trying to crush my way through life. It was just this natural unfolding of what felt intuitively right. And I was following the right path that led me to a result that was far beyond what I ever desired. Now I'm 185 pounds. I look the best I ever had. I can actually take my shirt off and be proud of that, which I could not say that in 2013. And that's just one example. My income was the same thing. I was like, I got to get back up to six figures because I had a year where it was like right over. And, I know everybody makes different amounts of money, but for me, if I dipped under six, it was like, that can't happen. And, so then all of a sudden it's like I'm making different decisions. I just set my intentions on, instead of being, focused on sales, being focused on coaching and speaking. And by doing that, within just a very short window of time, less than a year, I quadrupled my income. And then my relationship with my wife, I got so many examples of this. And here's the thing. We all understand that hard work is important. Hard work is incredibly important, but we're working hard on the wrong things. And what I don't mean by this is the 48 laws of this or the 4 hours of that or the 7 habits of whatever. I'm talking about is that the work we should be doing, or the work that we can do that's the most powerful and effective, isn't the grinding out to go to the gym, eating the salad, trying to buy the roses for our wife, or trying to do the stuff that takes a lot of willpower, but it's the work on upgrading who we are. So getting up in here and really just changing up the operating system that we're running from so that we can truly like embody the person or the man that we need to be in order to have the things in our life that I promise you, if you go down this road, you will find a life that is vastly more beautiful, more powerful, more alluring, and more magical than you ever could have designed or created yourself. And again, to use the example of a woman, just like a woman, you could not design her. No man could design a woman to be as incredibly beautiful and powerful as a woman is. Yet when we find her, we're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So why don't we have our life where we say every morning, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Where we wake up one day and we say, how on earth is this my life? And then ask only one other question, which is, how does it get any better than this? And that's really what I'm excited about in 2017 is being able to help usher other men through that exact same process. I've been able to help a few this year as private clients. And next year, 2017 is just going to be a much bigger year because we've got some really powerful stuff that we're planning on working with some men to create.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to do a deeper dive. We've got a link below this video. I'm sure you're going to talk about, hey, do you need written? Do you need visuals? What is the most effective few steps to take so you keep this constantly in your consciousness, whether it's in your office? You're going to have a whole system on how to do that. So
absolutely. Any
final thought or final piece that you want to say to get them to jump on to the deeper dive?
Yeah, man, throw out the vision board and let's chat.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks a lot, Trey. Talk with you again soon.
Thank you.